Hello there, and you're very welcome to another episode of the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League podcast. You join me, the host, along with Eamon and Hector, and we're going to take a look to see how our managers are getting on, who is going to be the champion for 2021-22. Gentlemen, a warm welcome to you both. Thank you for joining us on today's show.
Thank you. It's very nice to be back. Again, another good weekend of football has taken place. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm very pleased, very impressed. Looking forward to today's show.
Yeah, indeed.
And we also have, I suppose, firstly here, we have two items on the agenda here, as well as talking about the managers. We have a new manager who has joined the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League, and we'd like to give them a warm welcome. They're called the Lafayette Lions.
Really? Okay. Lions. They're going to roar into the lead, aren't they?
Well, I'll tell you something, we'll be coming to them shortly, but they are from America and they're most welcome. We have an international touch about the managers. I mean, we've somebody from France, haven't we? And we have now somebody from America. Well, I think we're getting out there. And we'll big shout out to all our American listeners and our listeners in Germany, all around the world. Thank you for tuning in.
Okay, listen. Thanks, yet again. Yeah, look, I have to say, it's lovely to know that our listeners listening to us. And tell your friends, give us a plug. Thank you.
Well, no, Eamon, I didn't think you were going to be coming in with that. Seriously, Eamon, are you trying to sell something? Have you a book or something?
No, I have no book. I just think, it's nice to say thanks.
You must be on the happy juice.
It's not happy juice with me.
Right, okay. Well, the second thing, of course, here is that we have Mick joining us.
Oh, great. Can't wait for this.
Now, Eamon. Yeah, Mick, you're very welcome to the show.
All right, it's nice to be back, so it is. Oh, Eamon.
Hello, Captain Fantastical. Mick, how are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm keeping well, so I am. Hector, how are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Mick. Nice to hear from you again. Looking forward to, what you're going to be saying and what you're going to be talking about. Yeah, Mick, this is only just like game week 2 is finished. 2 weeks in. What do you think of the managers so far?
Well, I don't think that, any manager needs to be worrying about how they're getting on. It's only early days, and I think any manager who might have had a good first week and didn't have a good second week, there's no need to panic. It's all right. Everybody has a bad week every once in a while. I think that you keep your head about you. Just carry on with your plan. You got to have a game plan. And every manager should have a game plan. Start it before the season kicks off. You have to have a goal.
Okay, so you have to have a goal. So, Mick, am I right with this? So you're advocating that you would have a plan of sort, and you'd know what you're aiming. Would this be like, manager says, I'm going to end up in the top 5. That's my goal.
That's right. Yeah. You have to try and understand that it's not about saying I'll put a team together and that's it. That's not the way to do it. You have to have a goal. Whether you reach your goal or not is another thing. But you have to have the goal.
This is just codology. Like, hold on a second. I mean, to some people, this is a bit of fun. They don't need to have this, goal, this plan. I mean, it's a bit of fun for some people. You're going down the same route as Hector was with his observe, his nose, all of this sort of stuff before he would even think about transferring a player. That's hard work. Some people want a bit of fun.
You might have a point there now, Mick. What do you say to that?
Well, I think what I'd say to that is that, okay, if you want to have a bit of fun, that's all right with me. But I'd have a goal. I'd be saying I want to end up top 5, top 3. I don't want to be down the bottom, but I think I'd like to know where I'm going, Eamon. If I was going from A to B, I'd like to know how I'm getting there.
Okay. Now, Mick, where heading towards game week 3. If you had a tip for any of the managers now in our league, maybe they're thinking about transferring a player. Some might have 2 transfers, some might have 1. Some might even be considering maybe, and let's not shy away from this, the wild card.
I think it's very early to start using the wild card. My book, some people will do it. Fair play idea if you want to try, but I think it's awful early to be doing that. I think if I was a manager, players are getting settled now. And I would be thinking to myself, who do I want on my team?
Okay, who would you have in your team, Mick?
Well, I think now that Harry Kane has decided that he's staying there, leading the way at Spurs, he's going to settle. He's going to integrate himself into that team, and he's going to take over. And he would be man I'd have to have on my team. I also think another guy, and he's showing real form, is Danny Ings. And you have that forward from Aston Villa, you're going places. Now, to match Harry Kane out of Son from Spurs, I know he didn't have a great game week 2. I wouldn't worry about it too much. And then another midfielder I'd like to have is Jack Harrison. I think he's a great player. He's going to go far. I think he's a guy you need to be getting in your team.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I think James from Chelsea, he's a good player. It's a defender. You'll have to have him. And I think also a player who's really taken off this season for me is Pogba, Man U's player. He's a great midfielder. He's having a great spell.
Yeah, he's not doing too bad at the moment. So they would be the sort of functioning players that you'd have in your team. Is that right, Mick?
Yeah, that's what I'd have in.
Lads, what do you make of that?
I don't think Kane is settled. He's upset. If he is staying there now, I think that he will, he probably have to establish himself. But I don't think he's going to be putting himself in the shop window saying, look, I'm going to score so many goals. Come and get me, lads. I think he's probably been, his ego has probably been ever so slightly bruised. And the love and affection from players, fans, manager will take a little time to rebuild and to bed in. I think at the moment I would be leaving him out for now. I wouldn't have him in there. I'd have Antonio or Lukaku before him.
Okay. Hector?
Well, I agree with Mick. The guy, Danny Ings, he very good. I would have him in there, no problem. He good. Not too sure about the Sonny Son. I think his Sonny Son, he had a flash for first game week. You need to follow that up, though.
But hold on a second. Sure, Fernandes and Salah didn't do much last weekend either, did they?
That's right. Those lads are not doing it there. But there's other players there that are doing it, and you're going to have to watch them.
Yeah, I know that, but just say, I do agree. I think the Pogba and the James, they're good players. So I think of all, I would have Ings, James, and Pogba.
Eamon, any last words?
Well, look, there's not much I got to say about that, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I like Danny Ings. The Sonny Son usually comes good, so I think I would punt away with him. Jack Harrison, I'm not too sure about, but I do agree that James and Pogba seem to be doing well, so I'd agree with Mick on that.
Thank you very much, Eamon. I was nice to have that.
Okay. All right. Listen, Mick, thank you very much for joining us.
It's always great to be back here on the show. Hope everybody is keeping well. Keep safe. Keep safe out there.
We will indeed. Okay, so that's Mick there. Now, I suppose, lads, how do we think that the managers in the league done this week? Hey, man, can I start with you?
Yeah, okay, look, I think that for a start, managers who have identified players who are stand out are the sort of players that you need on your team. And I think for one of them, Lukaku looks like he's going to be an impressive player to have. Antonio, of course, is there. I think the Liverpool defenders, Alexander Trent-Arnold and Damascus, they definitely need those in there. And we were just saying there a moment ago, James, he's well worth having on the team. And I think the managers now, after 2 game weeks, need to be considering some of these players. These are the guys that are going to really push. They're going to get the points. they are going to achieve. And for you to achieve as a manager, you need them.
Hector?
Yeah, well, I think Hugo Lloris from Spurs, he's an excellent goalkeeping, so I think I would be having him. I do like Said Benrahma for West Ham. He scored a goal and he got an assist. You can't argue with that. These are the sort of players you need there. So I would be going with them.
And what about Mason Greenwood then, Man U? He scored for the second week in a row. I mean, when you see that, it's a time to reflect on how good Fernandes, Salah and Son are. I mean, these are the so-called big hitters, lads. But they didn't really do much, did they?
No, they didn't do much. I think there's question marks about this. A lot of question marks.
Yeah, I think so too. I think maybe sometime your manager might have to look at one of them and say, hey, you're not doing much, you have to go.
Yeah, and I think that Donkey was back in business. I'm surprised at Salah. I really think, that they could have done better, especially, when you look at the points that they got the previous week and the points that they got this week.
Yeah, it was 146 was the highest points and 56 was the average. Now, I suppose without Salah and Son and Fernandes doing much business, you need other players there, don't you?
Yeah, you certainly do. I think that you need to be now reflecting and taking into account players who are performing. Now, they might not be getting double digits every week, but you need to be getting at least 6, 7, maybe 8 points out of these players. And they are
Suppose, Mick, like some of these managers now, they know what they're doing. Do you think it's acceptable that some of them would have not even hit the average point?
Well, I suppose someone who could challenge
listen, could you actually just be quiet, Mick, for a moment?
Well, the host asked me a question. I just thought I'd
the
wonder.
host might have asked you something, but I'm actually talking here.
Well,
So
I can keep
you be
quiet. You talk away. No
Guess what?
So,
Thank you very much for that.
it's no problem, Eamon. All you have to do is just ask. Anytime, Eamon. Anytime.
All right, okay. So, Eamon, anyway, we're going back. You were talking about that you need to look at the players who are getting, the 5, 6, maybe the 7 points a week, and not looking for the lads who are hitting 10, 12, 14 points, etc. You're looking for the week in, week out the player who's getting you points. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That is it. Yes, that's what I was trying to say before. I think it's important that you need to look at these players. You need to identify them. You should be able to identify them now. Hector, do you agree with this, or do you have a different take on this?
Yeah, I think that Eamon, he speak right. At this point, you now know who is starting to perform. You're going to look at the player who is working, getting shots, the assists. They may not always be scoring goals, but they also, if they are having the assists, keeping clean sheets, that's where your points are being made. There are the players who will, be getting the 8, 10 plus whatever points. If you have those on your team, yeah, that's very good. But I think, if you look and see how Fernandes and Salah played last week, I mean, the week before they do so well, and then the next week they don't do so well. That is unsettling, I find. It is not consistent, and that is what I think Eamon is trying to say. Consistent.
That's right, yes, consistent. Consistency is a key here.
All right, okay. We'll have a look, at the league and at the managers. Now, Tobogger 6, 78 points. Eamon, I'll start with you here.
It's a really good result. I mean, to follow that up, having 100 points in game week 1 and 78 in game week 2, he's got form. He's got real form. There's an established team here. This is a solid team. And I think, the manager is putting down a marker here. And he's just saying, this is what I'm doing. You do whatever you have to do. It's up to you to catch me.
Okay. Now, a surprise manager in second place is Arkham Avengers, and they managed 48 points. Again, Eamon, I'll go back to you. Hector, I'm going to come to you in a moment now, but I'll go to Eamon on this.
Well, this is a surprise and a half. Oh, I don't know how this guy got up there. I mean, how did he get up there with 48 points? I mean, he's 56 is the average, and he'd managed 48, and he's still up there. There's something mathematically not right. There's nothing wrong with the maths now. Everything is fine with the maths. What do we think of this? Yeah, well, look, I think I had a look at his team, and I really have to say that other than Alexander Trent-Arnold, who got 12 points, and Brighton's goalkeeper, Sanchez, 6 points, he didn't have any other players who'd done anything. I'm shocked, I'm surprised at this, and I haven't anything else to say.
Hector? Well, I think Eamon might be shocked or surprised, but I think you know one thing. The Arkham Avengers, they didn't think out around with their team. They didn't have any transfers. He stuck with the same team. Now, he don't get the big points like he got, the previous week. And I think, but he has stuck with them. And other managers just didn't have the players who might be able to do better than that. And that is how that goes,
Look, the spoofer won't be there next week, and I can tell you that for nothing.
Okay, right. In third place, What a Beauty 99, 68 points. Hector, I'm going to start with you on this one. Now, how do you feel about this? This team and this manager, they're rising star. I think they had a star performance. They had Lukaku, 8 points. Ings got 8 points. Then they had Bizoma, Brighton, 8 points. But I do think that, the rest of the midfield was weak. Now they had Mings from Aston Villa, who got 15 points, and Duffy from Brighton, who got 14 points. So they had some big hitters on there. So, look, they're going in the right direction. Good performance. Can't fault it. Now, fourth place is Blightsome Squad. They're down 36 points. Hector, I'll stick with you on this. Well, I think that apart from Ings, he got 8 points, and Mount from Chelsea got 6. Martinez, the goalkeeper, got 5. I think, though, apart from that, the rest of the players, I know what happened to them. They must have been sightseeing. They must have been looking around at the fans in the stadium, admiring the architecture. They certainly know play football. And that'd be worrying. You need to have more players than that to do something. Okay. But of course, I suppose, yeah, they only got 36 points. It wasn't a great result, was it, Eamon?
No, it's not a good result. I think we have a few of these not good results this week. I think these managers will go on and have to be sorting this out, addressing this.
Okay, now, fifth place is Can We Win Again? And Eamon, I'll start with you on this here. They're down as well, I have to say.
Yeah, well, they got 39 points, and I have to say, can we win again? Certainly not with these players. Days from Man City got 11. Jota scored 8. Ings got 8 points as well. And they're really the only players that turned up. I mean, he had Fernandes, captain. Shocking result. In my book, the donkey strikes back. And the worst thing of all is there was 14 points sitting there on the bench. It's not a great result. It doesn't show good form. And I think this manager might probably stick with most of these players, but I'd expect 1 or 2 changes here on the way.
Okay. Sixth place then is Raglan Road, and they're up. Now they get 42 points. Hector, any comments on this? Well, look, I thought they had a very good first game week, but this, not the best of results. But look, it's enough to get them moving up. And once you're going in that direction, they're not going to worry too much about that. Okay. Seventh place then is Ain't Got a Clue, and they're up as well. They got 56 points. Now, Eamon, I'll move over to you here. What do you make of this team so far and how they're performing?
This is the second week that they decided to leave Ings as a captain. And you know something? It paid off. They got 16 points. A decent return for their defence, but I think the manager needs to look at his midfield and shake them up a bit. They're not really gelling. They're not really pulling in the sort of points that you'd expect.
Okay. Now, 8th place, who have dropped down, is Legion 11. 36 points. Eamon, I'll return to you on this one here.
Yeah, okay. They did a really good game week 1. This is a real disappointment. It's not great. And I really just think if there was a piece of advice I can give to this manager, it would be, I think it's time to start trimming some players out of this team. It's time either to contemplate using a wild card, or if they have the transfers, start working on them. Because, there's a how would I put it? this team had showed the capability of dropping and not performing the way they should be doing.
Now, 9th place is the Mighty Defenders. 78 points. Hector, I'll go to you on this one. Well, you know something. If Waha Beauty 99 was a star performer, I have to say the Mighty Defenders. They are a star performer as well. I thought it was a great result for them. And the other thing, it matches Tolberger's 6 score, so they're matching the champion here, the leader. Solid team, look like they're capable of scoring plenty. This is a team I think that is on the way. They are rising up, and I think this team, they're going to be in top 5. Okay, 10th place is Bamford Rejects, and they're down 33 points. I'll return to you, Hector, on this one. Well, the manager not going to be happy. I think there's rejection running through this year. Apart from, Mendes from Chelsea got 8 points, Rafina Leeds 7 points. They were, to take one of Eamon's words, they're the only players who were functioning. They did have, I can name Cash, Aston Villa. He had 6 points on the bench. That he could have been better on the pitch, I think. Okay. And then 11th place also down is Rosie Rovers. 36 points. Eamon, over to yourself on this one.
Well, look, they only had 2 players that done anything, and that was Edison, the goalkeeper of Man City, 6 points, and Mount for Chelsea, 6 points. The rest of them didn't do anything. It's like as though this manager decided to take the weekend off. Not sure why, but they need to do something as well. They're like the Legion 11. They're like Bamford Rejects. It's time now to start doing a little bit of transferring, a little bit of work on the team here. The ones that they have in are not doing it. So if they're not doing it, it's time to say adios.
Okay. 12th place, maximum effort. 70 points. Eamon, I'll go over to you.
I think this is another star performance this week. 70 points. Again, no more than the spoofer being in 2nd place. It's hard to understand maximum effort in 12th place with 70 points. Just goes to show you how far Gameweek 1 let them down. Very much improved team. They brought Lukaku in, which was brilliant, and made him captain. It was an astute move. They got 16 points. That's the sign of a good manager. Now, my question will be, can they repeat this and build on that 70 points for Gameweek 3? If they can do that, they're going up.
Okay. 13th place then is a local John. He didn't move. 49 points. Eamon, what do you think?
Oh, look. This guy has me scratching my head. Look, he has Watkins from Villa as the captain again, even though he had 50% chance of playing. What manager in their right mind does this?
Well, I don't know, Eamon. Can you explain? Have you any explanation?
I don't have an explanation for this. I'm not a mind reader. I can't look into the mind of this manager. But I can tell you something. If he continues on like that, he's not going to be moving. I'm surprised he'll stay in 13th. Actually, I don't think he'll stay in 13th place next week. He's in danger.
Hector?
Well, I think that Eamon right, You have a player who is injured and only 50% chance to play. Why you make him captain? That make no sense. This is like, some guy who decided to put team together and say, there you go.
This is like Michal's Tiger tokens all over again. We put a team together and we're not going to look at it. So if this manager is listening, I'd like them either just to contact us and maybe give some insight as to what's happened. Maybe he went off on holidays. I don't really know. But, geez whiz, it's not hard to pick a captain who's going to play. But a captain who's going to be injured. Why?
Okay. And then our new entry, of course, is in 14th place. Lafayette Lions, 58 points. Hector, I'll start you on this. Yeah, look, 58 points. They're above average. Welcome to the league. These are our American manager, so they're very welcome to the league. They've got good forwards, Lukaku and Calvert-Lewin from Everton. Respectively 8 points, 7 points. They had Berharima for West Ham, 12 points. They had Duffy from Brighton, 14 points. They had their goalkeeper, Ray Martin from Brentford, 6 points. They're all good points. An interesting team. Looks like a team that's moving. And I feel like he get 58 points.
he get another 58 points. He's moving up. He's catching those guys. All right, okay.
So finally, then, to wrap it up here, we had 6 managers who hit the average points. Like 56 was the average points, and they hit that and got more. The other managers, lads, what's happened? Definitely, as I said, I think some of these managers must have had the weekend off. They certainly didn't prep. They certainly didn't do any work. They didn't make any remedial changes that were needed. And I think you need to study this form. You need to look and see the matches coming up. And you need to start using transfers wisely, so they do. Because, I mean, you have to do this. They're the basics. Hector?
Yeah, I think that some managers here will be very disappointed with how they got on. And I think that they will be saying to themselves, I got to do something here now. I expect managers to have changes. Would it be time to use wildcard? I do not know. It could be early, but however, you might get your player in.
Yeah, because some of the players are losing money and some are going up. It is affecting transfers, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, you see players going down. They might be dropping the million or 0.1 of a million, and that then can affect how you're trying to get other players in. It's a little different this year. I know some people might not be happy with it, but it does make it more complex. And sometimes you have to transfer sooner than you expect. And you run a risk then if there was a match, like if there was a Carabao Cup match or something, the player could get injured and you've decided, look, in case he goes up or goes down, that you're going to go and transfer him in and he could be injured. Yeah, there is that risk. I always think you need to look the Thursday, a day or two before the matches start, to do your transfers. Because at that point they will have their training, there should be no matches. You should know then whether they have big, an injury through training or not. So, Hector, final word?
I just think you need to transfer wisely. Watch the players.
Is that it?
Yes, that's everything.
Listen, typical wise words from Hector. Transfer wisely. I mean, what sort of advice is that?
Well, you have to transfer wisely. Don't go to and make any transfer just for the sake of it. If you can carry transfer, carry it. If you need to make a transfer, maybe you make one transfer.
What's that got to do with transfer wisely? I mean, it's not. I kind of lost with that. I'll have to say I'm a bit lost myself there. Transfer wisely. I mean, how are you transferring wisely?
By picking a player who is going to do your good team.
That is simple. Well, you don't understand this. Well, no, what I'm understanding and not understanding is transfer wisely. I mean, what's the dynamics of that, Hector?
Well, you transfer wisely. If you transfer, maybe it's an unwise transfer.
But how you want to know it's going to be an unwise transfer? Eamon, I'm lost on this. You're the only one lost. I tell our listeners are lost here at this point. I mean, can you expand on this, Hector?
Look, what I say is, very simply, you have perhaps maybe 2 transfers this week. Maybe use one. You're transferring.
Well, that's using transfers. But I mean, you're not about players transfer wisely,
Yeah, well, you look at the player who in form.
Yeah, but they're only in form as good as John would always say. And it's a pity he's not here with us on the show. John would always say, you're only as good as your last match. So a guy, we saw this with Salah and with Fernandes. They were super duper in game week 1, Hector. Game week 2, they forgot to put their boots on. Or if they put their boots on, they forgot to lace them up. So how could you transfer to any of those guys wisely?
Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Listen here.
Now hold on a moment. You said transfer wisely, and now you're backtracking out of it. I always just say, watch the players, note the players, observe, check to see who has good form, who has assists, who is scoring goals, who's playing all those minutes, and then transfer wisely.
All right. Well, I have to say, I'm still none the wiser. Well, you're not the only one here. I have to say, it just seemed to be a throwaway remark.
It was no throwaway remark.
I think it was a throwaway remark. I don't think you knew what to say when you were being asked, and you decided just to pluck 2 words that came out of your head, and you ended up with that.
No, I didn't. I know what I'm talking about.
I don't know if you do know what you're talking about, because if you knew what you were talking about,
you would have been able to explain what on earth you were saying there a couple of moments ago. But you didn't do that, and I don't think you know what you were talking about, Hector. And I think you should have, the gumption to say, yeah, I didn't know what I know what I'm talking about, Eamon. All right. Okay. We'll pause. The show is coming to an end. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining. And we look forward to Game Week 3. Matches start on Saturday. Is that right? Yes, they start on Saturday. And we'll be back with a review of Game Week 3 to see how our managers get on. Eamon, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be here. Hector?
Very well. Nice to be here. Take care, everyone. Big shout to all people down in Cork. Very nice to meet you all.
And listeners, thank you for joining us. Remember, the fantasy football for the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League is still open. If anybody wishes to put a team in, you can just send us an email at arkamavengersffpl@gmail.com, or alternatively, if you're using Facebook, just pop us a message at Arkham Avengers FFPL, and we'll get back to you there and you'll be able to join the league. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Remember to tell your friends, remember to subscribe, and join us for our next episode. Take care, stay well, Slán.